Hi, my name's Mike, and today we'll be talking about lead and lag metrics, setting target conditions as it relates to strategy deployment. Our team a few years ago spent a lot of time working on lead and lag metrics and target conditions. We actually read a book called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. I highly recommend it. If you're struggling with strategy deployment or don't understand what you're doing, it's a great guide to kind of walk you through. Okay, so just something to kind of think about. We'll just kick it right off here at the beginning. I want to start with a little bit of inspiration. So as we do strategy deployment, there's a purpose. And the purpose is to tie you to the strategy of the company. But I picked a few quotes from some people that are far more famous than I that I really liked. So let's start in the left with Benjamin Franklin. If you fail the plan, you are planning to fail. And then Abraham Lincoln, the best way to predict your future is to create it. Thomas Edison, genius is 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. And finally, Napoleon Hill, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So I just want to kind of set you on this path to we set goals so that we have a direction, and then as we go work to achieve them, that's what makes us successful. So let's start with a simple question. Would you sit on a train or a plane without knowing where it's going? I see a lot of head nods, a lot of shakes this way going, no way, I would not sit on a train or a plane without knowing where it's going. The obvious answer is no, right? So why? Because you actually want to know where you're going, right? So the same thing for goal setting. Goals give us a sense of direction. They tell us where we're headed and maybe even give us a little indication of how to get there. Okay, so how do we get to the wildly important goals? There are always more ideas than there is capacity to execute. Every one of you, as you sit in your teams, can think about all the different things that come up in your daily work, whether it's from an improvement card, whether it's somebody's got this idea, whether you can see this problem in the line, whether you're looking at abnormalities and going, oh, what are we going to do about all those, right? There's lots of things to consider. So how do you decide what the most important goal is? Well, here's 3 key questions that you should ask yourself as you're talking through this as a team and trying to set your goals. So why does whatever we're going to work on matter? Why does it matter? Okay, 2, how is it or why is it strategic? How does it help us truly take a leap and become better than we are right now? It's not just moving or inching forward. It's how do I take this leap that's going to make us so much better than we are right now? And then finally, why or how does whatever you're going to work on connect to the strategy map? You've all seen the strategy map. You all have it presented each year by the executive team. They come and talk about here's the things the company is working on. Here's the stuff we're focused on. How do you tie yourself to one of those goals and objectives? Okay. Next, as you set goals, they should be SMART. This is a great acronym. Helps you to remember. Okay, so specific, meaning you need to decide exactly what it is you're going to work on. You need to be specific in the way you state it. Measurable. If you can't measure it, it's a little bit tough to determine whether you're being successful or not. Achievable. If you set some goal that you know you will never achieve, I think people will lose heart really fast and they'll just stop working. Okay, realistic. Same with achievable, it's something that it's got to be real. And then the final one is time bound. So when we set goals, you're going to set a time frame to when you're going to achieve them. Okay. All right, so how do we define a target condition? You start with a verb, okay? Some great examples here of things that you guys all work on every day are cut cost, grow revenue, improve on-time delivery, launch a new product. There's probably many, many others that you guys are working on. I know that there's a whole bunch of people here from the etching and engraving team that also does wild cards. You guys launch new products every period, right? Tough goal. There's some tough stuff. You got to figure out, how am I going to manufacture this? What's it going to look like? What does my layout look like? How are we going to hit our time buckets? How are we going to make sure we meet demand, right? There's all those things that you have to look at. Okay, so then next, make it clear and measurable, achievable, realistic, and set a start and end date. That's kind of back to that SMART goal stuff, right? Okay, a lag metric should come directly from target condition, and it tracks your results. Okay, so when you think about a lag measure, it's how am I tracking whether or not I'm successful? Okay, so here's an example. So I want to do something from X to Y by Z date because I picked one that I think everyone can relate to, whether you're skinny or not. It's something that just about any human that works in the human condition can understand. So the example here is I want to lose 12 pounds from 280 to 268 by October 1st, 2022, because my clothes will fit better and I'll be light enough to ride the zip line when I go on my vacation, because the maximum weight limit's 270. So I got to get under that 270 by October so that I can go, right? Okay, so pretty simple to say, okay, what did we define here? We said the goal is to lose 12 pounds. And we said where we're starting, where we plan to end, and the date we plan to achieve it by. Now, what you're going to do is then you're going to go figure out what the lead measurement is. Now, lead measurement means what is going to impact this goal? How do I achieve it? Okay, I brought this as a little visual aid. I think many of you have probably seen a fulcrum before. As you've gone to your science class, you can see there's a weight here. And when you put a fulcrum in the right place, when you push on this, it raises the weight, right? So it's pretty obvious that the lead measure here is that my hand is going to push down on this lever that has a fulcrum in the middle and it lifts the weight, okay? I wanted to make it visual because it's easy to see. The point here is that whatever your lead measure is what's going to push. Okay, it's going to push on this and it's going to make whatever you want to happen on this other side. Okay, so let's go through that. So a lead metric must be predictive of achieving the goal and influenceable by the team. It demands a focus on behavior. I want to emphasize that word, behavior. Okay, so let's go back to the prior example. The goal is to lose 12 pounds in 12 weeks. So if I break it down pretty simply, it's I got to lose 1 pound per week until I go, right? Okay, so how does my behavior impact whether or not I meet the goal? Well, it's pretty simple. If you know how to do math, you can say how many calories can I eat per day and how many do I burn, and figure out what can you eat each day and still lose the weight and make your goal, right? So it's pretty simple to say, so my lead metric in this case is I'm only going to eat X number of calories per day. In this case, I've done the math. 2,766. It's a lot lower than I'm used to. Am I probably going to be a little bit hungry over the next 2 weeks, 12 weeks? Probably a little bit, but I hope to reach my goal anyway. So if we do it, we get there. If we don't, we don't. So that's why when we come as an executive team to do our Gembas, the first question that we ask is, how are you doing on your lead measure? Are you focused and doing the things you said are going to impact your goal? Okay, so team members should be able to say, I know what to do today, not come to work and go, gosh, I don't know, what should I do today? Okay, and they need to be able to keep score. They need to be able to say, did I score today or not? And by score, I mean, did I do something that impacts that goal? Okay, just a little reminder here. Great book, if you have a chance to look at it, Atomic Habits by James Clear. He says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Your goal is your desired outcome. Your system is the collection of daily habits that will get you there. Spend less time focusing on outcomes and more time focusing on the habits that precede results. Okay, it's your habits, it's the day-to-day, it's that I'm going to do something that impacts what we're working on today, and if I do, I expect that the lever will move and will lift the weight. Okay, it's a team game. Team behaviors drive the lead measure. If the whole team can't participate, people lose interest quickly. One of the struggles that my team, the logistics team, sometimes comes up with is how do we set a goal that every single person can tie into? Because we have a lot of disparate things going on, right? We're managing different portions of the transportation in and out of the company and import and export compliance and other things like that. So how do I get all these people that focus on something different every day to work on a goal together that makes us achieve something? It's a little bit of a challenge, so that's one that I would invite you as you're trying to come up with your lead measures of, okay, what can everyone participate in so that nobody loses focus? So I put in the slide because it's a lot like the fulcrum example that I brought, right? So the rock is the lag measure, the lever is predictive, and it's the lead measure, and when you push it, it's what you influence and you move the rock, okay? And then finally, you need to be able to keep score. How many of you guys have a team board in your department? Okay, you do, right? Everyone has a team board, which should have on it each day how you performed. That's your score. You should be able to see every day, how did I do? Did I do something that's impacting the goal or not? And if you can see that, it makes it really easy to see where you're going and whether you're going to succeed. Okay, thanks for being here. It's enjoyable having you. Have a terrific day. I hope you enjoyed this content on lead and lag measures and setting target conditions. If you did, like and subscribe, and hopefully you too can reach your goals.